Hi everyone, we'll be reviewing the long tail cast on. So here I have my needles, which I'm going to set aside for a second, and here I have my yarn. There are a couple of things we need to do before we start the long tail cast on, one of which is to identify where to place your slip knot. So there are a couple ways to do this, estimating the tail that you need. First of which, if you have a pattern that specifies the width of your cast on, you can just multiply that by 3. So here I have the sample of our garter stitch cowl, and this is the width of our cast on. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, and 3. And given a couple extra inches, I would make my slip knot right here. The other really nifty way is if I don't have too many stitches to cast on, say anything under 30, I would just grab my needle and estimate my tail by winding my yarn around my needle as many times as the number of stitches my cast on calls for. So here I have 2, 4, 6, 8. So say I'm casting on 10 stitches, I would go 8, 9, 10. Give it a couple extra inches, I would make my slip knot right here. So let's move on to a slip knot. So we're gonna put our yarn on our table and make a loop that way. Now I'm going to take my fingers in this pinching motion, going through the loop and grabbing my tail yarn, then grabbing both ends of the yarn and tightening. And there you have a slip knot. Don't worry that it's huge right now. The great thing about a slip knot is once you put it on your needle, you can then snug it right up, and that's why it's called a slip knot. So here, important note is that you want your tail end of your yarn to be closest to you. So right now I have it facing the right way, but just in case you put it on the needle the other way around and you have your working yarn, the yarn that's attached to your ball, closest to you, as I have here, I would just take it off, flip it around, and put it back on the needle. And there you go. So now we're ready to do the long tail cast on. The first thing I'm going to do is to grab both of my yarns with my bottom 3 fingers in my left hand, and then I'm going to take my thumb and forefinger, again in this pinching motion, to separate the 2 strands up here. I'm going to plonk my right forefinger onto the stitch that's on the needle just to hold it in place. And then you're going to flip your hand around and bring your needle downwards, and so you have your yarn in this bunny ear position. So cute. The yarns that we're going to focus on now are this one that's coming under my thumb and this one that's coming over my forefinger, this guy right here. So again, I'm going to reset, grabbing both strands, separating them, coming down into this position. We're going to go under the thumb yarn, over and grabbing the strand that's on my forefinger, and then coming back through the gap that's made by 2 yarns around my thumb. And then we're going to drop the thumb yarn and tighten. And there you go. That's the first stitch of your long tail cast on. So again, I'm going to grab, separate, come to this position, under, over, and through. As I go along, I'm going to move my forefinger to the newest stitch that I've made. This plays a couple great roles. So it's going to hold your stitches on your needle so they don't slip and fall off. And also, it's going to provide a little space for you when you're casting on so you don't cast on too tightly. So again, under, over, through. See that space that gives me? Under, over, through. Under, over, and through. There you go. And to do it faster, you get into a groove. And there you have a long tail cast on. We're ready to knit now. Thanks for watching.